West Ham United have signed 9 different strikers since their move to London Stadium in 2016. In this video, I'm going to rank each of these strikers from worst to best. Let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Jacob Carroll here with Amateur Hour Sports, where we give you raw and unfiltered sporting content Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So if it is your first time here with me today and you like what you see, maybe you want more insight and opinion on the sporting world in your life, or maybe some informative videos on the history of sport, make sure you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports. It's no secret that West Ham have not had a proper striker in a very long time, and that has not changed since their move to London Stadium. So I'm going to give you, again, the 9 strikers they have signed since that move, and if you're a West Ham fan, you may want to look away, you may want to cry, you may want to laugh at yourself. But if you're not a West Ham fan, you're definitely going to have a laugh at this list. Starting with number 9, the worst striker on the list, Simone Zaza. Wow. Simone Zaza made 11 appearances for West Ham United and not a single goal. 8 Premier League appearances. And it's not just about the fact that he didn't score for West Ham. He was just so useless on the field, an absolutely useless twat. Like, he did fucking nothing on the field. I thought that, after a decent spell with Sassuolo that got him a transfer to Juve, where he didn't get a lot of playtime at Juventus, but popped up with a goal here and there. I thought that when he got signed to West Ham United at his age, it would be a good signing. I thought he had the build and physique and the technical ability to be a decent Premier League striker, but oh my god, maybe it was his attitude, but he lost all of his quality as a footballer, and that just puts him worst on the list. Number 8 on the list, Albion Ajeti. Signed from FC Basel after 2 decently prolific seasons where he scored 14 goals in each of those seasons. 28 goals in 2 seasons is very decent, but, in the Swiss league for a player who wasn't that young, the signing doesn't really make a lot of sense for West Ham. He has seldom seen any sort of playtime for the Hammers. Hasn't scored at all in any of his 8 Premier League appearances, though almost all are off the bench. I don't really understand what they saw in him signing from FC Basel. I think at that age, 14 goals in any league is decently impressive, but for one of the better teams in that Swiss league, and 14 goals from your striker, I mean, it's good, but is it good enough to translate to the level of the Premier League at that age they signed him at? He's already 23 years old. I personally don't see it, and I know he hasn't seen a lot of game time, but it's because he isn't really good enough. He's not at the level. That puts him 8th at the list. The reason he's above Zaza is because at least he tries on the field, and at least there weren't any expectations for him coming in like there was for Simone Zaza. Number 7 on the list, Jonathan Calari. 16 games in the Premier League for West Ham and the single goal, and a fucking stinker of a goal that was. An irrelevant 93rd minute goal to make it 3-1 against Middlesbrough, and that goal was a stinker. Heavily deflected shot from the top of the box. I mean, he was utter shit, to be honest. There was never really a time in his career where he was prolific. Even today, I mean, his highest scoring season of his career in the league is 10 goals for Boca Juniors in the Argentinian division. But how is that good enough for West Ham to want to sign him? I think David Gold saw a video of his Rabona, that one where he chipped the goalkeeper with a Rabona, and decided, we need him at West Ham. The one goal, but besides that, again, another one who was just useless on the field, just in front of goal. He had no finishing touch. Even the one goal he did score, a huge deflection to send it past the goalkeeper against Middlesbrough. Even with that one, he should have just tucked that one away. He's lucky it even went in with the amount it got deflected. I mean, I can't believe he didn't actually hit the net properly for that goal. Other than that, the amount of chances that he had, he just had no finishing ability, and he has nowhere in his career shown that he has that real striker ability to score goals. It was a signing that didn't make sense. But again, more impressive than Zaza and more impressive than Ajeti, number 7. Number 6 on the list, Jordan Hewell. Why the fuck did West Ham sign a 26-year-old championship level striker. Why? 3 appearances for West Ham and no goals. They shipped him out on loan. Why did they sign him? I get there were injuries, but like, what was the point of signing him? He's above Calari because literally nobody expected anything of Jordan Hewell at West Ham. Maybe he wasn't as talented, but there were no expectations. He was there and like, that's it. He was there. Nobody expected him to light anything up. Like, just a mind-boggling decision to actually make that purchase. And Calari actually got game time, got minutes that Jordan Hewell never saw, so we never actually got to see what he had to offer. Number 5 on the list, Lucas Perez. After a tremendous season with Deportivo La Coruña, a season in which he scored 17 league goals in a very difficult Spanish division, La Liga, Arsenal came knocking and snapped up the striker. And after such a prolific season with Deportivo, it looked like a pretty good snatch for the price. But he was poor with Arsenal, to be quite frank. And I know he didn't really get his opportunities as a number 9, but he wasn't great for Arsenal. And there's a reason why they sent him back on loan to Deportivo the season after he arrived at the Emirates. 1 goal in 11 EPL appearances for Arsenal, even though it wasn't a striker, isn't very good. Hoping to re-find his touch at Deportivo on that loan spell, it didn't really happen. He did score 8 league goals that season for Deportivo, but didn't find that prolific touch, but it was still enough for West Ham to want to sign the player, and they did sign him. And again, he didn't play every game up top, but 3 goals in 15 appearances leaves a lot to be desired, especially since 2 of those goals occurred in the same game, and especially since one of those 2 goals was an absolute gift. Also, even if he wasn't playing as a striker, a playmaker with 4 assists, that could be a bit better as well. He just really wasn't anything great. He didn't really influence proceedings on the field, even in those playmaking positions. But, decent in some spells, and that's why he's where he is on the list, because there were some bits where he showed a bit of talent, but overall, nothing too prolific, and, he warrants this position on the list. Number 4 on the list, Sebastian Alaire. He was signed from Eintracht Frankfurt after a terrific 15-goal Bundesliga season, and along with those goals and being such a prolific striker, Sebastian Alaire was tremendous at holding up play, getting assists, bringing other players into the game, which is perfect for the Premier League. A very sizable striker who can hold up the ball, who can score goals at a prolific rate. This seemed like a match made in heaven for West Ham. He kicked off his English Premier League career with a great start. He was scoring goals. It looked like West Ham had finally solved their striker woes, but it fell off rather quickly. 7 goals in 26 games so far for West Ham in the league isn't horrible. There's still more games left to be played, but it's not tremendous, and I think West Ham fans may have been expecting a little bit more, but it's decent. It can get better, and I think that Sebastian Alaire has the ability to improve his game. He has the quality to influence proceedings. He has the quality to score goals, and I think he has the quality to be a good Premier League striker. Maybe if he gets a bit more time, he can show his class. Just at the moment, it's not quite up to the level we were expecting, but, for West Ham fans, maybe you can have a bit of optimism that he can regain this form and start scoring goals. Number 3 on the list, Javier Hernandez. It was a bit of a shame how he fell out of favor at Manchester United, because I did really like him there, though near the end of his Manchester United career, he wasn't really scoring goals anymore, and I think a change of scenery was needed for Chicharito's career. He went on loan to Real Madrid, and he was just there, really. He didn't really do a lot. Scored a few goals, but wasn't really a contributor to any success that they had. But then went to Bayer Leverkusen, where he really refound his form with 17 Bundesliga goals in one season and 11 Bundesliga goals in the next season. That was enough to convince West Ham that this could be the solving of their striker problems. How many times have they said that when they signed a striker? After a promising start with the Hammers, he mostly disappointed. In his 2 seasons, he scored 8 league goals and 7 league goals respectively, which isn't horrible, but it is underwhelming considering the expectation had on him. Like, it's all right, and the fact that this player is 3rd on the list is quite laughable. In fact, having Chicharito 3rd on this list is quite horrendous. Fucking hell, West Ham. Get your shit together. Number 2 on the list, Andre Ayew. I know he's not really a striker, but he did have quite a bit of playtime there for West Ham. He was also signed from Swansea, where he was playing as a striker, scoring a lot of goals. So signed as a striker, got his time as a striker. I'm going to put him on this list. He's been a bit of a nomad over the course of his career, playing for lots of clubs. But again, Swansea was the one where he really found his feet and goal-scoring touch. He had decent spells at Marseille, but his real goal-scoring flair came playing as a striker for Swansea. And, West Ham decided maybe he could take a step up and join the Hammers at London Stadium. He was decent at times, but 9 goals in 43 Premier League appearances isn't anything groundbreaking. And 12 goals in a total of 50 appearances for West Ham, 0.24 goals per game isn't that bad. And considering he wasn't playing as a striker, it's decent because it wasn't all goals for Andre Ayew's game. Obviously, he could have performed better and he underwhelmed a little bit, but, he was a decent player for West Ham. He went back to Swansea after the West Ham spell in a January signing, and he didn't score at all for the rest of that season. But then, in the next season at Swansea, he managed to score 10 league goals for them. And it just clearly didn't work out at West Ham, but, good enough to be second on this list, which again is a bit of a cringy moment for West Ham fans to realize that, wow, since we moved to London Stadium, Andre Ayew is the second best striker we've signed. Absolute pain. To be fair, his numbers are pretty good for a guy who wasn't always playing as a striker, so not going to criticize him too much, but he left a little bit to be desired. Number 1 on the list of best striker signings since the move to London Stadium is Marko Arnautovic. Now we are talking. A West Ham striker who scored 10 goals in a league season? What? A West Ham striker scoring 10 goals in a league season? 2 seasons in a row? What? Sound the fucking alarms. West Ham had a good striker on their hands, but then he chose money over football and fucked off to China and left West Ham. Overall, Arnautovic was great for West Ham. I know he had a very rocky start playing on the wing, getting signed from Stoke City as a winger, but transformed into a decently prolific striker, a player that West Ham could finally rely on up top. They could rely on him to score goals, and it's rare that you see a West Ham striker or West Ham player for that matter scoring at least 10 goals in a league season, but doing it with 11 in one and 10 in the other, it's a big shame for West Ham fans that he decided to pursue money over playing at West Ham, and that's how it has to be. He decided that he wanted to go play in China, and West Ham needed to find a replacement, but considering of the 9, this is the only real high-quality striker signing. The future for West Ham strikers look bleak, and unless Sebastian Alaire can turn it around, they'll have to make a 10th signing to try to find the replacement. There you have it, the 9 strikers West Ham have signed since their move to London Stadium, ranked worst to best. Make sure you comment to let me know where I got it wrong, who the best striker is on the list, who the worst striker should be on the list, and maybe who West Ham should sign next to solve their goal-scoring problems. It was very hard to pick the worst striker on this list because there are so many really bad strikers. David Gold and David Sullivan need to fucking figure their shit out if West Ham want to start pursuing for, Europa League positions again, because it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. But that ends off this video. Please like the video if you like, and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more content just like this as well. Hit that notification bell. We post 4 times a week. Stay up to date with all the future content. So much content coming your way. Please stay tuned to Amateur Hour Sports. At the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that's okay. See you again next time.